The Miami Dolphins, away against a playoff caliber team. Cold weather, must win. What happened?
We lost. That's what happened. We didn't get the job done.
Season over.
Hey everyone, it's Richmond Webb. Hey, thanks for joining again, and we're back for another review of the Dolphins game. If you don't mind, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and we will get into it and talk football. And glad to have you back with us again this week.
And here we are, Richmond, again on Tuesday. But today, we have to be honest, Richmond. It's not like we were thinking that the Dolphins will going into the playoff, because for going into the playoff, this will not just be they have to win, but also plenty teams have to lose. So it was just 1% chance. But come on, it will be so cool to still have a week to believe. You know what I mean, Richmond?
Yeah, I think everybody had kind of bought back in, but you're right. When you think about it, our playoffs started 5 weeks ago. We were in a situation to where even if we went out, we needed a lot of help in order for things to fall in line for us to actually make it in. And it was still, I want to say, at least 3 teams ahead of us for the last spot. And so I think the thing is that, it felt good for the last month or so, actually seeing the turnaround with the team, start getting on a winning streak, actually running the football. We were probably one of the more physical teams on both sides of the ball. Our defense and offense kind of came together at the right time, and the game started out well, but it didn't. By halftime, after halftime, it kind of just really just dove. And I think that was the frustrating part. And I would have loved to get a win in cold weather, because I would love to kill that narrative that, the Dolphins can't play in cold weather. But for whatever reason, played decent the first half, but we just didn't do enough to get it done in the second half. So hats off to the Steelers. They're actually leading their division right now, the AFC North. So it was a huge game. I don't think people look at that for them as well. For them to, they control their own destiny. They went out, they win the AFC North. So formidable opponent. We just didn't come up. We didn't get the job done.
Yeah, and I'm jump on what you're saying about the Steelers. Of course, I will not saying that the Steelers are going into the Super Bowl every year, which is not true. So they have their struggle. But, we're trying to kill the narrative to win on a cold weather, or maybe win one day a playoff game. But for the Steelers, they are one win away that Mike Tomlin still having winning season. He never had a losing season in his career. So that's, the difference sometimes you have between franchise. But hey, we spoke about that with Hazaya last week, about must win. Normally in Mike McDaniel eras, it is where we losing. We lost yesterday, but can we really think it was a coaching problem? Of course, it could be a coaching problem, but for me, and I go straight to this, Richmond, I know we will have so many problems after that, but we have to speak it clearly. For me, Tua didn't deliver this year. He didn't deliver, and he didn't improve.
Yeah,
during the year, he didn't adjust.
This has been, to me, for Tua, and I really like that young man, but he's really struggled this year. And then watching the game last night, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were, discussing. They were analysts for the game, and they put up the stat of all his interceptions have came against zone defense. So when I saw that, I said, okay, the way the NFL typically works is when you see you struggle with something until you can correct it, you're going to continue to see it week in, week out, week in. And so it made sense that a lot of teams are probably playing more zone than man against the Dolphins right now, because that's where Tua is more susceptible to make mistakes, turn the ball over, this and that. And, it's not the narrative. It's just the fact is that, again, last night, he threw the ball and didn't seem like it was much on it, and it kind of fell short. And I think it was Jalen Waddle trying to fight to get the ball out the defensive back's hand, but he couldn't get over there quick enough, and it was a turnover. And that's the last thing you don't want to, when you kind of got a little momentum going, you don't want to turn the ball over, and you don't want to turn it over on the road against a good team. And a lot of times they don't allow you too many opportunities to come back and capitalize on that. And so I think that's one of the things with the Steelers. They're a little bit more disciplined team. They're used to playing tough physical football games, and as long as the game's close, they were in it. But yeah, he is. He has. It's been a rough year, I'll say, for Tua. And I'm one of his biggest fans. I'm rooting he can turn it around, but until he can show he can throw the ball against zone coverages, we're gonna see that throughout the rest of the year. So hopefully he can get that corrected, and then we finish strong. We're not going to the playoffs, but that doesn't mean we just give up the rest of the games. I think we still go out, try to compete and win every game we try to play in. That would be my philosophy.
But before I jump into what you say, uh, uh, I mean, we'll not talk about the mobility problem because I think we everybody has been speaking about that the entire season. But also the accuracy is not at the level it was because everybody was saying the same thing about Tua. The accuracy was amazing. But now I have the feeling that we go back to the first year, his rookie year, when the ball, I have the feeling is weight so much in his hand. In his hand, I don't know how to express that in English, but I have the feeling that sometimes it's like it's tough to throw the ball, you know.
Yeah,
So it's not just about mobility, but it's not just about vision. It's also about, I don't know if it's 100% sure of what he's doing and confident of what he's doing. And also, like you said last week, he, maybe he has to work again with his trainer off season and go back to something. I mean,
yeah,
Paul Bruder in the last interview I made last week, he starts saying there is a difference between a pro and a professional.
hmm,
A pro, you don't have necessary to explain what he has to do. He will do it by his own and improve on his own. A professional is just someone who get paid.
yeah,
I have sometimes a little feeling about that with Tua. I'm just saying humbly, I'm someone from the catch.
yeah,
I have nothing to win,
yeah,
nothing to lose. You guys keep cool. But that's my feeling because those teams exist to win games, not just to be on field and sell T-shirt. That's my feeling.
yeah.
So I don't know what we can do, but it's sure that it's the same Tua next year. We can do anything we want on draft, on free agency. I have the feeling if it's the same Tua, that team will not lose again, will not win even. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you bring up some good points, but during his rookie year, he had a pretty major hip injury before we drafted him, and so um, I guess the thing his rookie year, I didn't quite understand, but we were winning, and Fitzpatrick was doing a good job, and all of a sudden they made the switch to play Tua, and I'm like, okay, if he had a major hip injury, let him get as healthy as he possibly can. Sometimes if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I thought we could have stuck with Fitzpatrick a little bit longer, but hey, I'm not the coach. Whatever, they made that decision,
Mhm.
whatever. But yeah, like I said a week ago, when he signed this new contract with the Dolphins, they didn't want him working with Perform, or I think that was a guy named Nick, whatever. But
Nick Hicks.
he was
Yes.
really instrumental in Tua seemed like he was more mobile. You could see physically changes in his body where he was working out. His footwork was a lot better. It seemed like his processing speed, he would catch the ball, boom, 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 go through his progressions and get the ball out. And now it seems like I think he goes through his progressions, but it seems like sometimes he's hesitant to say, do I go ahead and throw it here? Do I go ahead and throw it there? And then by that time, if the guy was open, sometimes that guy's covered back up, and then the pocket starts collapsing, and either you throw it up as an interception or we take a sack a couple times, and I think it's that. So if I'm him, I go in the offseason and saying, look, you look at my production when I was with this guy versus y'all not let me work with this guy. I need to work with this guy if y'all plan on me being the best version of Tua I can be. And I think that's what we need in order to have an opportunity to win games. Because, most of the fan base, even last night, they were saying we need to get rid of him, blah, blah, blah. But there's some call a salary cap. There's implications for that. And even if you do get rid of him, you got to find a team that's willing to take it on, and you're still gonna have to eat some of that salary on your cap. So it's a lot of stuff. It's easy to say we just get rid of them and get another quarterback, but when you pay somebody that kind of money, you got to try to work it out and exhaust all efforts. And I think that would be the thing I would do is I would still try to maybe draft a guy or work with yours or Wilson, the guys we got now. You got to have a viable option that in the event he starts to struggle, you can bring somebody in and still win the games. Because the way the defenses really start playing this and that, it gives you an opportunity to win. And these games are too hard to continue to let them go by. If someone's struggling, hey, maybe pull them out and say, hey, you got to get this fixed, this and that. But it helps you stay on path or track to saying, okay, we're still in position to go to the playoffs, stuff like that. But that would be my pitch in off season is I need to work with these guys because they know what I need and I have my best version. And I just seem like it would be hard for the organization to deny that if they truly want to see him succeed and the franchise succeed. But I'm just a guy on the outside looking in.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, I think I never saw a quarterback who is so questionable because all we have Tua get injured most of the time this season, or we have Tua not injured but don't deliver in the high level. So sometimes I think we have to choose what we want. But anyway, we will not talk a lot about Tua because you know what? The whole internet, the whole podcast, Miami Dolphins will do that this week. So we will not. We don't need to add more. And I have a question for you, Richmond, because it pissed me off a little bit.
Okay.
I heard that McDaniel said after the game that he should have focused a little more on Darren Waller. I don't know what to think about when someone say that after the game, when everybody saw in the game that we should do that. I mean, it's always easy when you are not on the field. I understand that.
Yeah.
But why during this season, every time we lost, there is something come from McDaniel who admit a little bit he should have do that. We should do that. We should do that. I have some. I mean, it's questionable, no?
Yeah, it's I think the thing is the great thing is we got Darren Waller back. Just recently came back, but even last year when we didn't have one, the tight end position has really done well in McDaniel's offense. And so when you have that kind of success and production, you seem like you want to include it in there. I think last night, and it could have been a little, it looked obvious, but it maybe wasn't because I think at the point that Waller really kind of got involved in the offense was in the second half. But I think they were already up 28-3 or whatever. And we went down and scored a couple times. And I think the Steelers, they were just keeping everything in front of them. They wasn't really blitzing or whatever. They were just saying, let's let them move the ball a little bit, eat the clock up, but they still don't have enough time to beat us. And so you'll look at the tape and say, well, man, we should have been doing this, but were the Steelers playing you the same way in the last part of the game as they were the first? A lot of that, but you got to find, even when you say that, it should be somebody from the press box saying, hey, Waller's open. We need to start, getting the ball to him because he's running routes. We can really have some success with him. And I think even with McDaniel, you got to trust the guys up in the press box because they got the aerial view. They can see the plays open up and develop a lot easier when you're ground level and you're just looking at it from the sideline. So Um, that definitely needs to get fixed. But I do know just from this year and last year, when the tight end is involved in the offense, that he's really had a lot of success. So why not start with that from the beginning, like you said, versus waiting until late and then get him involved and say, well, maybe we should have did this a little bit earlier. No, just go ahead and plan on having him part of the offense from the start of the game.
Yeah, or you know better than me, or use target him from the beginning
Hmm.
to open others
Hmm.
also.
Yeah,
It's not just to have a target throws catch. It's also bring the attention like the Steelers adjusted to Etchen.
yeah,
It's I had the feeling it's a chase maze game. Sometimes you move a target, you move on another, and you have to see where it's working. And at the end, it was 7-3 at half. The game was really not over,
right,
and something that it's. I mean, this is why we are not going into the playoff. Also, we are the worst team in the NFL in scoring point on third quarter. And I have the feeling this is where we lose the game because they scored 14 points and we didn't score anything, and it's what 21-3 in fourth quarter. I mean, it's crazy how we haven't been able to score on first quarter and third quarter. It's like we need always momentum to build something on those games, not on the last five games. Even if the Bills were a great team, but in those games away against a great team, we always being killed by our weakness.
yeah.
I think the opponent find more easier are to play with our weakness. And I think this is why we are not going into the playoff, because we don't have the quarterback to do that. I say this year, I mean this year, Tua is not the quarterback who can put you into the playoff. But also we are a team that, even if the team improved during the year, adjust during the year. So shout out to McDaniel also for that. We are not just negative. He has been the ability to adjust. You said last week the Tariq Hill injury maybe might be helping the fact that they focus on their Devon Etchen, but with all that positiveness that we saw during the season that we didn't saw the first 3 or 4 seasons with McDaniel, it's all gone because we on some games we are just like an open book, and the opponent is playing with our weakness. That this is the kind of stuff that you can find on teams who are not going into the playoff. So my last word will be: we are not going into the playoff because we're not a team that could do anything in the playoff.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a good point. It kind of made me think about it. When Cheetah Tyreek Hill got hurt, it seemed like there was more focus put on Achan running the football. We've had success doing that, but at the same time, if you're so dominant or leaning so heavy on one player, I think we have enough players to where you lean on Achan, you lean on Waddle, you spread it to Waller. When you spread it out, and I think that's even in the passing game, I think Tua probably looks to Waddle as his primary target majority of the time. So if they play double coverage on him and you still trying to squeeze it in there, like no, just give. You got to give what the defense takes you. And if it's not there, if you start hitting the tight end first, that'll open up opportunities for Waddle, because they're gonna say, okay, we got to shut the tight end down because he's the one that's killing us. When you go to concentrate on him, it opens up every. So, like you said, it's like playing chess. If they shut this down, we just move over here, we do this, and they do that. We can go back to that. Or you always try to keep them guessing on what you do. But when you spread it out, or you're not just one person heavy all the time. And I think that's one of the traps we early on in the season was like stay trying to get the ball to Tyreek. We have all these other weapons. You got to learn to spread the ball around and give everybody an opportunity. It helps Tyreek. It helps everyone. It helps the offense. And I think situations like that take pressure off Tua because now he just says, "Let me just hit what's open," versus trying to force the ball or this is my first read. Let me try to get the ball over there. So um, yeah, they need to sit down and try to work this out. And they're not going. They're not going to. They'll give you a little insight, but they're not going to tell you everything because if they tell the fans, they telling everybody in the NFL, this is what we're really struggling with. And so they're going to put a mask on it, but some of the stuff you can see. And like I said, when they figured out that zone coverage is giving Tua issues, he's got to find a way to read the zone coverages, place the ball where it needs to go. Because if you keep going into double coverage, it's somebody that's not double coverage. You just got to find that receiver and get the ball to them, and then you know that'll help you say, okay, he done figured it out. Now we got to try something else to stop him.
Yeah, I think we were a too much predictable team on a crucial game with someone like Mike Tomlin. Even if he has his own issues, I will not saying that uh, he's the best of the best. Of course, I think you talk with the Steelers, they will be we want to be in a Super Bowl again, but I think we were too much predictable, and the Steelers just find a way to beat us, and that's it. Season is over, Richmond, but we will continue until the last game. We have to support the Miami Dolphins anyway.
We're gonna do that.
It, it was fun the last month. It was very
It was
fun to
very.
talk about the Dolphins.
That was that
We
was
enjoy.
that was a needed fresh breath of fresh air. I think that was definitely needed. I think it was needed for the fan base. It gave people hope again. It shows you what capable. It's just it's got to be tweaked just a little bit to where it doesn't work for like 4 or 5 weeks. It's got to work for an extended period of time, and not just defensively but offensively. And when you get both of those hitting on the same cylinder, I think this could easily be 11, 12 win type team if we get those issues fixed rather than, always trying to fight to come up from behind to try to get back into it. We have the players and stuff, the capability to be one of the teams that's, right there in the top 2 or 3 teams in the AFC. I just truly believe that.
Yeah. Let's finish the season. I don't know if Tua will play the last 3 games or they will find something. I don't know. I don't want to talk about that now. I just want to add something before we're doing our review, and we let the entire Dolphins podcast doing their 1 hour review for the fans, but for us it's a short one. I will just say this. Last week Armando was on the podcast saying that he received a text from Bruce Smith, who said that you deserve to be in a Pro Football Hall of Fame, and Armando shared that with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think it's huge. I think everybody knows the situation, will understand that Bruce Smith respond that on text is the most he can do now. So it's I think it's huge. I think it's something that speaks a lot about your career. It speaks a lot about the battles you guys have together. And you know what? I thanks the Finns Faithful podcast to bring that with Armando. I want to share also that I did some work for Armando by creating 2 videos on every snaps, rushing snaps you had against Bruce Smith between 90s to 99, so almost a decade. So it took me days, weeks
So,
to do that. But also I did a video of every throws you have against Bruce Smith between 90 and 99. So not just the rookie season, but your entire career against Bruce Smith. So 22 games. He shared that with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I think it's great. And the documentary I did with so many historians, former player, former teammates. You have Hall of Famer like Steve Atwater, Pro Football Hall of Fame selectors like Clark George, and so many others. It took me also days and weeks to do it. I think we did the most that we can to create awareness, and I think it's good. Richmond, the finalist list will be announced in a couple of weeks, so I hope you will be in there because you truly deserve it. And I think you can overshadow that the best pass rusher in the history of the game as an opponent that actually, like Paul Bruder say, the stats you have against Bruce Smith not help Bruce Smith to go to the Hall of Fame. He's not saying that way. I saying that way because my English is still complicated. I'm French, just for the audience, but it speaks volume also about this. So, Richmond, I think it's huge. Bruce Smith say that to you, and if you have a couple of words, you can share it, or we can end up the show.
Oh yeah, I just Bruce, like you said, I put him and Reggie White in a class by themselves, and like you said, for him to take time to respond to, Armando, like you said, I'm not gonna really go into his situation, but he's got some challenges going on right now. But for him to take time to do that, it means the world because, there are things more important right now, especially where he's, dealing with or whatever. So all I can say is thank you. Always grateful. I think like I tell people all the time, people talk about the pass rusher, but he was a complete player, not just a great pass rusher, but played the run and all that. And I think we've always had tremendous respect for each other. And then I'll be the first to tell that playing against like a guy like Bruce Smith brought out the best in me because he was already Bruce Smith before I got into the league, and then I had to match his level of play. So you always want to play against the best and see how you match up. And, sometimes I won, sometimes I lost, but I think that's the true beauty of the battle is just seeing how you measure up against the best. But I appreciate him. I appreciate like you, Coach Boudreaux, the historians. There's so many people and all the work that went into it, to where people could, it's like a lot of guys probably don't remember the 90s, but for you to take time to go through breakdown film, send to them where they can watch it and see like, oh, okay, yeah, this guy was pretty good. But, not only, but the fans, my teammates, guys I played against, former coaches, historians, validating that they think you're deserving of it. That means the world. I'm sure there's some selectors that believe that, but I think for others that didn't know or might not have considered it, looking at the stuff that were presented to them in a positive way without belittling another player or whatever like that. I think you did a tremendous job, and I just appreciate everybody's support, and we'll just see how it goes. But yeah, thank you to everybody, and like always, Bruce Smith, thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, Richmond. I will support you until my last breath. I can guarantee you that. And I'm not a fan, not wearing shirts. I'm just living by my own. I'm just living my dream to have connection with you guys. I love football. I love the Dolphins, but I'm not supporting you, Richmond, because you were a Dolphins player. I'm supporting you because, first of all, you're a great friend, a great family, an uncle, like I like to say in private conversation, bro. But also because I truly believe that you deserve to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And someone like you, kindness, but also great player, should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame because you are everything what the Pro Football Hall of Fame is promoting every single day. So, selectors, do your job, and we will all be good. All have a great weekend. Let's enjoy food.
Hey, great show again. I'm glad you got an opportunity to tune in. If you don't mind, we appreciate the comments. We're trying to do better. If it's some suggestions you would like to make, we're always open to them. But any critiques or whatever, how we can improve the show, we welcome those. And if we can make it happen for you guys, we will. But thanks for always tuning in with us. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And We'll see you next week.